Do you know why you need an emergency fund, especially when you're originally starting to learn how to budget? Well, in this video, we're going to talk about it and break that down. Hey, Jason here. If you're new to the channel, I've been an expat slash nomad for 10 years now. I am now on my fourth country, third continent, here in the southern region of Africa, in the country of Zambia, in the city of Lusaka. I now have permanent residency here, setting up my home. And one of the things I'm starting to do is just share with you what I've learned along this 10-year experience, going from country and continent to continent, and just also sharing with you some of the opportunities that exist here on the ground that is not being told about Africa. And so today's video, we're still doing the 30-day challenge where we're focusing on financial literacy and financial freedom. And today is day number 4. So give yourself a pat on the back and let's go ahead and get into the content. Now, TikTok, remember, if you want to be able to watch this video again, you can come over to YouTube. Just follow me at Jason Chaney 777. And for my YouTube family, if you want to be able to talk to me live and ask questions about the topic in person while I'm on the live video, just follow me over at TikTok at Jason Chaney 777. I do this video every day around 4 to 4:30 p.m. in Lusaka, Zambian time. So you must be using the time zone that I'm on. I'm sorry for my American family, but I cannot just keep accommodating you all. I do live in the continent of Africa now. And so today's content of day number 4, we're talking about building an emergency fund. But why do you need to build an emergency fund? It's more than just in case an emergency come up. It is starting to discipline you to understand how to move your level of zero up. Now, what I mean by that is most of us, if we look at our bank account and there's money in the bank, we're like, oh man, I got money. But the truth be told is you need to set your level of zero a lot higher. Now, when you first building your emergency fund, it may be just a few dollars. But when you have those few dollars in there, you need to tell people, like especially when you have friends or family that want to borrow money. Hey, how you doing, T? You need to tell them straight up, like, look, I'm broke. That doesn't mean you're at zero. Broke just means you're not at the ability to lend or loan money to people. And you have to also remember other people's financial responsibilities are not your own. You do not have any obligation to take care of other people's finances. This is one of the biggest misconceptions a lot of us have growing up. Well, oh, I'm the firstborn, I'm the male, I'm this. No, you're not. You do not have to take care of anybody's financial responsibilities. It doesn't matter who they are. It is their responsibility to take care of themselves. And if they dug themselves in a hole, they have to dig themselves out of that hole. And so you have to start understanding that. And the main way to understand that is by raising your level of brokenness. And how I do it is when I first started out, if I had 20 bucks in the bank, that I was broke. Then it moved up to $100. Then it moved up to $500. Then it moved up to a few $1,000. Like I want it to be one day to where even if I have about $200,000 US dollars in the bank, I'm going to tell people I'm broke. It is not your obligation to take care of other people's poor financial choices. And I know that sounds mean, it sounds horrible, it sounds entitled, but it's the truth. It was a video I was watching with Ice-T one day, and he was talking about people need to learn how to say no. He was like, the moment you say yes to someone when they ask you to do something, you're now taking on their obligations, and it's your responsibility now. And he gave the example of if someone asks you, hey man, can you drop me off to the airport tomorrow? And you say yes, then he's like, you have to make sure they're there on time. You have to plan the traffic. You know, all of these things is now your responsibility, your problem. And then if something happens that you did not foresee and you're getting that person late, they're mad at you. And at the end of the day, it was their obligation to get themselves there. They could have stayed at a hotel by the airport. They could have left a couple of hours even earlier. Like all these different things that individual could have done. But now because you said yes, you're taking on their obligations, their responsibilities. And it's not your responsibility to take care of other people. I know a lot of people will not agree with that, but it is the truth. If someone is in financial debt, you lending them money is not going to help them get out of debt. It wasn't them not having enough money that got them in debt in the first place. It was them not understanding how to manage their finances. This is why we're going through these days. Remember, day one, you need to understand what is financial literacy and financial freedom. Day two, why does financial literacy come first? Read a financial literacy book. Day three, you need a budget. If you don't have a budget, how are you going to be on top of your finances? And I've seen most people when they're needing to borrow money, especially people that are habitual people that need loans, they do not have a budget. They're not managing their finances. They don't know where their money is going. And then day four, what we're getting to now, they do not have an emergency fund. If they had an emergency fund, no matter what came up, wouldn't be a problem. Like, there's going to come a time in your life where you may not have physical cash as an emergency fund. You can have assets as an emergency fund. Right now, I do have assets as an emergency fund, and that is perfectly fine. But also, like, I'm not asking people ever to loan money to me. I take care of my bills at the first of the month. All of my bills are taken care of. And then outside of that, a few little things when I need to leave the house, I take care of those. But like, that is because I have a budget. My budget, I know exactly what I need to pay when I need to pay it. I take care of it. I see exactly how much money come in through my pension, and I see exactly what goes out. I know what I have left over, and I know what I put towards asset investment. This is all important stuff. When you start collecting enough assets, that becomes your emergency fund. You don't have to use credit cards and all of those things to support yourself that much, unless you're doing. I'm not even going to go into that. It's a whole different way of living where you use your credit cards to fund your life and then you pay it off every month. I don't want to go into it because that's a little bit more of an advanced lifestyle, and it is very difficult if you're not disciplined, especially with us just being on day four. And so this building an emergency fund is funny because this morning I was watching one of my mentor videos, John Hope Bryant. I was watching him on IG, and he posted this thing where it was a lady who was telling other women, you shouldn't be with a man if he doesn't have a car that's within 5 years old. So I mean, in 2025, he can't have a car older than 2020. And he said that was stupid advice. And I agree with him completely. As someone who never had a new car, I've never bought a car brand new. I usually buy cars with at least 10 to 15 years older. I remember back in 2004, I had bought a 1984 Volvo 240 for $300. That Volvo 240 is still on the road today. I sold it for $600. I made a profit on that car. That car was amazing. It drove me from where I needed to go and got me everything done I need to take care of. From that Volvo, I saved up $1,600. I bought a Cadillac. From that Cadillac, I saved up $2,000. I bought a Dodge Ram 1500 truck. Was it 1500? Yeah, 1500. It was a 1500 or 2500, but it was a Dodge Ram truck with off-road tires. Like, I got there, and none of those cars were brand new. None of those cars was within 5 years or even 10 years. Most of them was 15 years or older. As I told you with the Volvo, that was almost a little bit over 20, almost 21 years old, and I had no problem driving it. But what the funny thing about what John Hope Bryant said is he was like, Black Americans didn't even realize they were the ones that saved Cadillac from going out of business. And then he played some clips. Now, I don't know if he did this intentionally or not, but the clips he played were from the government study. Please hear this correctly. It was a government psychological study that the United States government did. This psychological study is what actually passed the Civil Rights Act. The Civil Rights Act was not passed because Martin Luther King had a dream. It was not passed because of Edgar Mevers. It was not passed because of Marcus Garvey. It was not passed because of Malcolm X. The Civil Rights Act was passed because of this psychological study. They realized that Black households had so much money, it made more financial sense to take their money legally. They started to realize no matter how much you try to enslave them or keep them under such harsh conditions, aka Jim Crow or apartheid. They realized the best way to stop black people from being successful, because at that time the psychology study said black people were the highest educated. We always have been putting our kids in school. This is nothing new. But it also said we had the most discretionary income per household. Black families in America had more discretionary income than their white counterparts. What this psychological video was doing, it was telling the white store owners of that time to allow blacks to shop there. It broke down things at such a beautiful level. And I'm going to tell you the name of this video because I really recommend you going on YouTube and watching it. And this is even for my African brothers and sisters. This is the same psychological study that goes on the continent to this day. This study is so profound, it should be in the Library of Congress. Instead of us teaching our kids slavery and colonization, we should be teaching our children based on this video to understand what not to do. They psychologically knew exactly how we were not taking care of ourselves. They said also because we were the biggest readers, or we were the biggest the word is slipping my mind right now. We're the biggest indulgence. We had the biggest indulgence of content. At that time, content was magazines. It just happened to be the Ebony magazine at that time. They knew that most of the things that we desired brand wise, the things that we truly felt like we needed to sell, we made it. It was stuff that was printed in the magazines. It is no different than today. The stuff that we see on reality TV, the stuff we see celebrities wearing, the stuff that we see the adverts for on social media, the adverts in TV, in movies, all of this thing, it's the exact same thing. Nothing is different. Everything is the exact same. Maybe the medium that they're using is different, but nothing is different. And it said, because we are so focused on brands, we will give all of our money to a brand if they open the doors to allow us to buy. That is why we stop circulating our dollars within our own communities. That's why us as even family, we'll go use a plumber from outside than use our uncle or our cousin or our brother or sister that has the same company. This has been psychologically broken down. And so I went and watched the whole video again. Now, the first time I watched this video on YouTube was like in 2007 or 2008. And then I remember for one point it got scrubbed off, but now it's back on there. And I'm really happy because it's such a great piece of information. Take all the racism out of it, take all of the hurt from that era out of it, and watch it from a psychological perspective. It is teaching you what you need to overcome to be successful. Because these are the exact things that we're doing that is holding us back. It explained how it will break up our households. All of these different things that we will spend the last of our money, we wouldn't save, all of these things. Like it also shared how black families at that time, the only reason they were able to hold on to so much money was because so many different brands were not available to them. Now, look at the same way, especially for my African brothers, sisters here on the continent. Like when people tell me about their grandparents and their great grandparents, and I listen to the stories, I listen from a different perspective than what most people do. Like I don't listen from the perspective of the struggle and all of that. I listen from what was open to them. And when you hear how there were so many places they couldn't shop at, there were so many stores they weren't allowed to go into, the same way as in the US, you start realizing because so many brands were not allowed for them to actually shop in or to purchase, it kept the money in their pockets. They were forced to actually have a so-called emergency fund. It just wasn't an emergency fund. It was just a fund for, I can't spend this money, so I don't have nothing to do with it, but keep it here. And instead, if our families, if our ancestors back in those days, if they would have found a way to actually put that money into something that was going to bring an interest bearing to it, most of us would be rich right now. And so like what we have to do now, we have to start going back to a place of segregation. Now, when I say segregation, I do not mean don't talk to white people, don't do this. No, I'm talking about financial segregation. We need to stop spending all our money on different brands. We need to go back and create a brand new type of emergency fund. But instead of just creating this emergency fund, we need to start making sure it is an asset collection fund, meaning that money we're not spending on brands, we need to start diverting it to assets, things that is going to multiply, make us more money, that's going to create generational wealth. And I get it, like, this isn't pretty. This isn't that sexy conversation when it comes to money. Like, people don't want to hear, oh, I can't buy no Louis Vuitton. Oh, I can't buy Nikes. But you know what? You can buy some knockoff Nikes, buy some knockoff Louis Vuittons. Instead of spending $300, $400, $500, why not spend $20, $30, maybe $40? Like, what is it going to hurt to spend a lot less for something that is, at the end of the day, it's the exact same thing? You don't know the difference between a knockoff and the real. They all come from the same factory. They're all made in the same country of China. What is the real difference here? Why do we have so much brand loyalty to brands that are not loyal to us? Last time I checked, Jordan does not pay me money to wear his shoes. So guess what? I buy knockoffs. Louis Vuitton do not pay me money to wear their clothes. What's another one? Christian Dior doesn't pay me money. Prada doesn't pay me money. So I don't owe them anything. I don't owe them any loyalty. I don't owe them my money. And also, at the end of the day, a lot of these different textiles and fabrics that you're spending $300, $400, up to thousands of dollars for, the actual price to put these things together may be like $10. So why should I pay a markup on something that's not even worth it? Why should you? Like, start thinking from that perspective. And that's just an easy way to build your emergency fund right there. Just cut back on your spending of name brand goods. One of the biggest ones that I see that most people have brand loyalty to, and it doesn't even really make much sense, is Apple products. I'm not an Apple hater. I'm just being honest with you. What has Apple done for you lately? Do you have stock in Apple? Are you getting a dividend in Apple? When I see people standing in line to get the newest iPhone and they're spending thousands of dollars every couple of years just to get the new upgraded phone, and I'm like, it's the same iOS software. Your display screen's the same. Nothing's really changed. They went against all of the things that made it, popular in the beginning. And I'm like, what is the point now? Like, what is the point of that loyalty? The two phones that I'm filming on right now are Techno Infinix. I got right here's the Infinix 50 Plus Pro, and this one right here on the right is the Infinix 60 Plus Pro. Both of those phones cost me maybe $200 total, 200 USD dollars total. They film just as good as an iPhone. They hear just as good as an iPhone. I can send a text message just as good as an iPhone, and I can still download apps and play games that are found on an iPhone. There's nothing different. I don't have brand loyalty. That is the only thing that I do different. And because I don't have brand loyalty, that money that I used to would have spent on brands, I put it aside for assets. Like, your emergency fund needs to start becoming your asset building fund. And the best way to do that is just to start doing it. So today's exercise, and let me look on the screen, is build an emergency fund and save at least $500 for unexpected expenses. Now, if you're not in the US, don't worry about saving $500. Save 500 Rand, save 500 Pula, save 500 Kwacha. And when you have that in the bank, and people come to you like, oh, I need to borrow money. You got something? Tell them, no, I'm broke. You need to change your level of broke. Like, we can't keep giving everything that we have to others. It's time for you to fill your own cup up. And financially, you need to fill your cup up. When you're sitting on 500 Kwacha, 500 Rand, or 500 Pula, you tell people, I'm broke. You shouldn't be ashamed of it. Who cares? And if they're that upset, you should ask them, why don't you have the money? You do not owe anybody anything. If they're financially irresponsible, that is their problem. And yes, I know it's going to hurt in the beginning. It's going to feel weird in the beginning, knowing you're sitting on a little bit of cash and telling people you're broke. But you have to take care of your future. You need to secure the bag for not only you, but for your generation, your future generations, your kids, your grandkids, your great grandkids. You have to increase the level of your brokenness. And then maybe a year from now, raise it up to 1,000. Then 5 years from there, raise it up to 5,000. Like, have different levels of brokenness. Like, people used to get mad at me back when I'd be like, oh, I'm broke. And then maybe a month or two later, I'm going on a cruise. And they'd be like, oh, I thought you were broke. And I'm like, why the hell are you worried about it? You didn't pay for my cruise. Like, you don't owe people anything. Even now in my life, when people be like, oh, you're American. Oh, things must be easy. Oh, you don't understand struggle. And I'm like, who the hell are you to tell me what I don't understand? I grew up in between Oak Cliff, Texas, Redbird when I was young, and then I was in DeSoto in the suburb. Even in the suburb, there was drug dealers. One of my neighbors 3 doors down was a drug dealer. Like, nothing was different. But also, like, I was doing hustle since I was 12, working with my Uncle King when he had his own roofing and plumbing company. I used to work with him in houses for the summer. I used to pump gas as a little kid at the what was the name of that gas station? Not 7-Eleven. Oh man, I can't remember the name is slipping. But it was a gas station in Oak Cliff that used to be on the corner. I used to go there to pump gas, and I would use that money to buy comic books. But then on top of that, like once I turned 16, was able to legally work. I always had a job. I had a job from 16 up to about 28, 29 when I retired, when I was medically retired from the military. But all of that time I was working. But also, like, people don't understand, like, I went to war to get my pension. And I didn't get this because, oh, I'm American. America loves me. No, I went to war. I sacrificed. I have 10 screws, titanium screws in my spine. My spine lets me know every single day the sacrifice I did to earn the money that I have. And just like you, just like me, you're making a sacrifice to earn your money. You don't owe anybody anything. It doesn't matter who they are. If they're not willing to sacrifice something for themselves, why should you keep sacrificing everything for other people? And I know this is hard for some people to hear. And I know you may be even like, yo, Jason, I don't know if I can do it. You have to practice telling people no. If you don't, people are going to keep walking over you. People are going to keep financially using you. You can't be the financial crutch. You can't be nice. And I remember one of my mentors, Ray Hickman, said, nice means nothing inside cares enough. Like, the more you just keep giving people money, you're not solving their problem. You're enabling them. The problem with most people isn't that they don't know how to, they don't earn. The problem isn't they don't earn enough money. The problem is they don't know how to manage the money they have. I see people every single day be like, oh, like even I have women all the time be like, oh, I want to go out to eat. I want to do this. I want to go somewhere nice. And I'm like, go do it. Oh, I'm broke. I'm like, pawn your cell phone. Sell your iPhone. You sitting here walking around with an iPhone 14, 15. Why are you walking around with something like that and you're broke? There's no excuse. You're sitting here having all of these TVs, these electronics. Like, we have all of these different things. I'm like, go sell it. You can't be broke and financially irresponsible. Like, you have to start understanding some of the purchases that you're making doesn't make sense. If that iPhone, like I tell people all the time, the day I get an iPhone, please believe that iPhone is making me money to where it's paying for itself. Like, even right now, I wanted to get VEO3, which is an AI software to help me make digital books for children. It costs $200. And I was like, you know what? I can go sell some books using the regular AI software for free, or the one that I pay $9 a month for. And I can slowly build that up. And then once I earn enough money with those books, then it might be time for me to go to the $200 a month software. But how many people are thinking like that? Start watching the habits of people who are asking for money all the time. Like, what are they doing? Like, where are they spending their money? Ask them sometimes too. Like, if someone wants your money to help their life, you have the right to ask them, what are you doing with your money? Let's open up your books. Like, let's see the finances. Where is your money going? You have the right to ask that. And yes, people are going to get upset. People are going to think you're being judgmental, all that. But you know what? They shouldn't have the right to ask you for your money if they don't want to open up the books. If you want to go get a loan from the bank says, okay, let's look at your credit worthiness. Let's look at your financial books. What is your asset to liability ratio? What is your debt ratio? How much money do you even have with us? Like, if the bank is asking for you to do that, for you to be able to get money from them, why do you not have the right to do that if someone's asking for money from you? Start acting like the bank. Start acting like money. Money needs to be verified and money needs to be validated. You cannot just give people money. One of the things, and this is what a lot of people don't understand, and this is why socialism will never work. Right now, if they just say, you know what, we're going to make everything equal, everybody's going to be on an equal footing, and they gave everybody in the world the same amount of money, within 5 years, all that money is going to go back to 20% of the population. And the 80% of the population is going to be in dire need of money. It isn't because they didn't have enough money. They didn't understand how to manage their money. This is why you must learn how to do a budget. That is the third thing to do. That's why day 3 was learning you need a budget. You have to start tracking your money, tracking your expenses. Now, once you start tracking your money expenses, the thing is, it's going to teach you where you can start cutting things down. I like to call it cut out the excess fat. And when you're cutting out that excess fat, hey, how you doing, Auntie? When you're cutting off that excess fat, that is where you build your emergency fund. You're not building your emergency fund needing to go earn more money. The money is already there. It's once you start figuring out the things you don't need anymore, the things you're wasting money on, that is where you build your emergency fund. Like my personal example, when I first started out, I was like, man, I don't know where I'm gonna get this $500 from. Excuse me, but I'm gonna have to figure it out somewhere. Guess what? I started getting it from, I was spending $300 on gourmet cheese, even though I had a beautiful stainless steel kitchen that I had just refurbished, put everything in there, stainless steel backdrops, everything. I was still spending $300 to $400 a month eating takeaway, like all of this nonsense. And then guess what? When I started cutting all of that back, I started setting aside all of that money to an emergency fund. But here's the catch. After 2 years of doing that, I purchased a hot tub and I purchased a sauna, a 3-person sauna that I put inside of my yard. I had a 10-person hot tub, jacuzzi hot tub. I used to listen to comedy and music and all of that every night. At that time, Cece and I, we would get in the hot tub every freaking night. Once she get out of work, I'm like, hey, okay, I'm gonna make dinner. And you know the rules. After dinner, we get in the hot tub and we chill and we take a shower and we go to bed every single night. But I never even knew that was possible until I started budgeting, and then until I started actually setting aside the money for an emergency fund. And I started living a beautiful life. I started going on cruises yearly. We were going on cruises every year. We were going on vacations. That's how we went to Panama. We spent a month there just traveling the country before we decided to move. That's how we went to London. Then we went to Amsterdam. All of these different things we were doing. And it was because we were following this exact path. And so today, focus on your emergency fund. If you didn't do your budget yet, do your budget. Stop being scared. Do it. Figure out your budget. See where you can cut out the extra fat. See where you're probably wasting money. Like if you have a beautiful kitchen that's functional, you might not need to eat too much takeaway. It might be time to cut back some of that takeaway and let's make cooking fun. Cook together as a family. One of the things Cece and I used to do, we used to try recipes from the Food Network. I remember I did some tequila lime flame shrimp at the time when I was eating seafood. Like all of these different things, and it became fun. Started making couscous for the first time. Made quinoa for the first time. Made amaranth, all of that. Like start making these things fun. If you see you're drinking too much alcohol, cut back just a little. I'm not saying stop it. I'm saying cut back just a little. If you drink 5 beers a day, let's cut that back to 3 beers a day. If you drink a bottle every month, how about we make 1 bottle last for 2 months? Like, let's start cutting back. That's all you need to do is just cut the fat, trim that fat off of your budget. Now, once you start seeing the areas where you're trimming your fat, You put that money aside for your emergency fund. Once you do that, you're going to start seeing whenever things happen, because things are going to always happen. Nothing's going to change. The last time that I actually really had to use my emergency fund, and this is when I was really like right now, I do assets for emergency. I don't do cash for emergency anymore. I do assets for emergency. There's a reason behind that. That's a little bit more higher level. We'll talk about that when it's time. But the last time I had to use cash for assets was when my brother Jerome passed away unexpectedly. He was a truck driver, and one day I just got the call. He passed away in an accident. His truck actually flipped over an overpass. I immediately booked the flight to go back there. I got there within a few hours, and I was grateful because I had the emergency fund there to do that. I didn't have to go ask for people for money. I didn't have to go see if my family could help me out. I didn't have to go put a GoFundMe up or anything like that. I didn't have to come on YouTube. Hey guys, my brother passed away. I really love to go sit. I didn't have to do that. The reason why I didn't have to do that was because I had the money in place. I had an emergency fund in place. That was the emergency. Now the way my life is, I don't allow emergencies like that. If something happens when someone passes away, Jason don't need to be there. Like that's a different situation, and that's because I'm at a different level now. But I do have assets for an emergency fund, meaning if I ever need to sell some land, sell some crypto, or sell some other things that I have silver coins, all of that, I have assets for an emergency fund. I can always move around and go cash out some things whenever I need to at a moment's notice. All I need usually is just internet connection. But start building your emergency fund. Start it today. If you haven't done the budget, make sure you do so. Now for TikTok, I'm about to end the video. For YouTube, this is where we're going to cut off. If you would like to be where you get a little bit more behind the scenes things and be able to ask me actual questions live while I'm on TikTok, you will need to follow me there at TikTok on Jason Chaney 777. So for my YouTube family, I appreciate you for watching. Build your emergency fund, please. If you already have your emergency fund built, let people know in the comments how it's been working out for you and how it's been helping you. And also for YouTube, if you have any questions or comments, just drop those down below and I will get back to you. And just remember this, I'm Jason, and success is simple once you know how.